Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast.
No, that's Jeff's intro. Good thing we can cut that out. Okay, here we go.
This is the Good Neighbor Podcast, the place where local businesses and neighbors come together. Here's your host, Sean Preston.
Welcome, everybody, to the Good Neighbor Podcast. Today, we have a good neighbor on with us. Her name is Joy Adams of Covenant Wealth Financial Services. How are you, dear?
I am doing well. Hi, everyone.
Are you ready for Mother Nature to bring back some of that dreaded white stuff for a few days, or what?
No. Who is?
I don't think anybody
I
is.
literally packed away all my winter stuff. And to think that I have to literally bring them back, right, just to accommodate a few days of winter. No, that's not cool.
I feel like if she was like, I don't know, like some people are big into this stuff, but if she was like a spiritual kind of thing where she's, going around messing with people's heads, she would just be, sitting there having a good laugh. I made you put away your stuff. Now I'm making you pull it back. I almost made that same mistake this weekend, but we still have the winter coats in there. So.
Oh yeah. Mine is nearby also, just in case.
So this is the first time that we've ever had the pleasure of meeting. So as a curious cat that I am, I'm super eager, and I'm sure our listeners are as well. So why don't we dive in, and why don't you tell us a little bit about your business?
Okay, my business is Covenant Wealth Financial Services. Covenant Wealth Financial Services, we've been in business since 2012. And for me personally, I've been in the financial services industry for over 25 years. So our company, we mainly focus on helping families and business owners to provide a secure future for themselves and their families. We do this mainly through cash flow management. We help our clients to manage their cash flow in order for them to be able to save for the future, invest, create wealth over time, and hopefully be able to also create a legacy.
Okay. I always love unpacking the first question because you can get super deep into it. And I always feel it's really important for people who are listening to our show to really make sure that they get the full on, kind of effect or knowledge level of really what it is. Because you could take a look at some businesses and some industries and say like, oh yeah, that's an electrician, or what's the difference between these three electricians you had on the show? So we really want to make sure we unpack it. So what are some typical things that you'll see that maybe come up a little bit more frequently when it comes to, if we're talking about cash flow management for families and or businesses? What are some typical things that you see right off the get-go that you're able to kind of rectify right away to help increase that?
Okay, so one is cash flow efficiency. A lot of people might earn very good income, but one of the statements I always hear very frequently is, I earn very good income, but I don't know where the money went. So with cash flow management, it literally helps individuals to harness what they're earning so that they're able to make better use of it. A lot of times, for example, when I examine my client's financial statement, I have an idea of, like, literally, I can always tell just by looking at their financial statements or by listening to their conversations what the issues are, like right off the bat. And a lot of times it's just unconscious spending. Individuals not really keen on exactly where their money is going. So one of the things that the cash flow strategy, one of the things that it does, it really helps clients to manage their money in a way that makes sense to them, in a way that is more intentional in terms of if, for example, if they want to pay down their mortgages, for example, they become more intentional in terms of where they should allocate their money. And that is really what the cash flow management strategy does when you're looking at it from a personal perspective. It's helping clients to harness what they're earning so that they can make better use of it, so that it can do what they want it to do, whether it's creating an emergency fund, saving for their retirement, or just paying down their debts.
Very nice. Everybody could always use a little bit more cash flow in their lives, especially in this day and age, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so I work with a few financial advisors. I have a couple of clients of mine as well too. So I've kind of got a pretty solid understanding of this realm. That's your specialty. Is there anything else that you offer when it comes to wealth management? Are you guys doing investments on the side, insurance, that type of thing?
Oh yeah, we do everything. We're a financial planning firm. I probably failed to to say that at the very beginning. It's financial planning, but the core of what we do to help put all the other pieces in place is a cash flow planning part of it. So we
Okay.
also do retirement planning. A lot of our clients are self-employed individuals. A lot of times they may not have a retirement savings plan or pension plan at their workplace. So they basically have to be intentional of saving for retirement. So we help them to also do that. We also provide security, financial security through life insurance products. And but overall, it's financial planning. It's taking clients from where they are and walking them through the various processes to where they want to be.
And this one's off the board, so I'm going to throw you a curveball, okay?
Oh, that's okay.
We are seeing a lot of traction with the podcast. There's a lot of business owners that come on board, and now we're starting to see duplicates and triples of the same form of businesses, same industries, that type of thing. So I always like to ask your kind of, what's your differentiating factor or your mission statement that comes along with that? Like, what makes Joy so different to work with versus maybe a different financial advisor that would be doing something similar from that perspective?
Okay, from that perspective, I work very comfortably with business owners simply because I'm also an entrepreneur who happens to be in financial services. I think like an entrepreneur. So a lot of their pain points I understand because I am also dealing with those same pain points. But more importantly, I have a strategy that would help them to solve those pain points because that is what I do. And even just through looking through their financial statements, for example, I have an idea of what is going on and what's needed in terms of financial service that would help them to, to secure their, their business in the event that there is an unexpected um, disability, for example, if an owner needs to take time off, extended time off, for example, we make sure that there are layers of protection in terms of insurance product that would allow them to do that. So from a entrepreneurial standpoint, from a person, financial advisor speaking to another business owner, I understand what they're going through and I understand the products that are needed in order to provide that financial security that they need in continuing to grow their businesses over time.
Very nice. That's what I wanted to hear. You nailed that. You could almost mic drop and just end the podcast right there with that one. Very nice. Okay, so I'm curious. Let's dive into your journey. Some people start, they were born to do it. Other people, they get pushed and pulled into different areas, and it's more like the Mazda commercial, the Zoom Zoom commercial. So I'm just really curious. Tell our listeners about your journey. How and why did you get into doing what you're doing today?
I kind of stumbled into financial services.
Yeah.
Yes, I did. It was after I finished university, just sort of looking for a career path. But financial services was something that sort of happened in terms of my eyes just being open to the possibilities of this industry. Um, I found myself being a single mom, not really understanding how to manage my finances. I found myself living from paycheck to paycheck and just didn't feel at peace, didn't have that financial security that I would be able to, make ends meet, be able to provide for my son at the time. And so when I was approached in terms of looking at financial services as a possibility, like I did see the possibility and I think I saw it from the eyes of being educated financial literacy to me is a major part of the reason why I am in this business. So from a financial literacy standpoint, I just saw the possibility. Even if I was not able to help my clients at the time, I was able to help myself and help where I was in time and the circumstances, the financial circumstances that I was in. I just saw this as a way out. And rightfully thinking, few years later, I have been able to create financial security for my family. I have been able to build wealth over time. And now I see where I am and where this journey of mine, I just saw the the possibility of being able to help others. So it wasn't a straight line. I mean, there were ups and downs when I felt like leaving the business, but I think what kept me in it was the fact that I saw myself growing and evolving over time through through knowledge, through knowledge, and that's
Knowledge is power.
through knowledge. Knowledge is power.
Yeah, 100%. And education is pretty much everything. It builds trust with people, builds influence, helps people make more informed decisions that are better for them. So I couldn't agree more.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power, and it does. You're so right when you said that it also builds influence. Because the more knowledgeable you are, especially in a certain area, people will start looking for you. And that is the level that I really want to be able to reach, where I am so knowledgeable in what I specialize in, and people see the value that I bring to the table, that they will seek me out.
Very good. Okay, so in the financial services industry, what do you hear from clients when it comes to misconceptions or myths? Do you get something consistent all the time?
Oh, yeah. Oh, you need a lot of money in order to be able to start investing. That is a myth.
Okay.
Dollar cost average of like even 100 or or $50 a month over a 20 or 30-year time frame, you are able to create, a retirement nest egg. So no, you don't need a lot of money. What I say to my clients all the time is to start right exactly where you're at. If it's $20 or $30 you're able to put aside for investment, continue to do that. And one of the things people need to understand, in order to create wealth over time, it's not just saving. You also need to be able to invest, right? It's not just saving. I have clients sometimes where they're a little bit off balance, where they save, 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 but they're not investing. If you're saving and your money is in a checking account, you're not earning anything. So, in order for you to be able to multiply your money and see that money grow over time, you need to invest.
Yeah, like you said, if it's just sitting with the bank in a savings account, that's not really benefiting anybody other than the bank.
Exactly, exactly. So that's the biggest myth. I say to clients, as I had mentioned, just start exactly where you're at. If it's $50 a month or $100 a month that you're not going to miss, it's not going to cause you to miss your latte or whatever it is that brings you joy in the morning. Start off with just 100 or 50.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Okay, so I've kind of started to get to know you over the last little bit here since we've been chit-chatting. I'm a type of guy that likes to have fun. I like to have all kinds of fun, and you strike me as a woman that likes to have fun as well too. So when you're not working on or in your business, what do you like to do for fun?
As I get older, fun takes on a different meaning. And for me, it's always giving back, right? When I was younger, it's partying and being, showing up everywhere where there's a lot of music and friends and food and so on. But as I get older, I find I'm a bit more introverted. And so for me, it's time. I always put a value on my time doing something to help another person, to uplift my community or whatever. But it's just that time that has to be valuable. So one of the things that I really, really enjoy doing is mentoring. I have been mentoring now over the last, I would say, 3.5 years. My passion it has always been entrepreneurship. So I've just really unique opportunities that have presented themselves, where I'm able to give back and to mentor startups. So that is one of the things that have really brought a lot of joy. It's crazy. I know, as I said, as I get older, fun and things, that you do, off regular schedule, it just takes on a different meaning. And for me, it's mentorship.
I also agree again with what you're saying. I mentor as well. We mentor in our business careers, and we also mentor within the structure of our own company as well too. So taking new people who don't have business acumen on both sides of that fence and have collected enough at my young age to be able to offer some of that to people. And it's just such a rewarding feeling where you're able to give advice to somebody. Now, listen, let's be honest, not everybody takes your advice. So they'll want help and then they don't listen to what you're saying. But for the people who do, it's such a rewarding feeling to see them gain a piece of knowledge, act on that piece of knowledge, and then receive the benefit.
Exactly.
And you don't ask for anything which in return, their gratitude that they show and that they're able to now pass along to somebody else, having gone through that learning experience. You feel like you're just making the world a better place.
Exactly. And for me, I always say that whenever I see the entrepreneurs that I have mentored, when I have seen them just move to another level, for me, it's also, I'm cheering them on. But for me, it's literally, it literally feels as though I'm also part of that journey. So that gives me a lot of satisfaction. And so over the last 3.5 years, that is what I've been doing, and I really, really enjoy it.
Very nice.
Mm.
Okay, let's switch gears here and let's go into maybe a little bit more of a serious conversation. So in life, nothing's ever linear. It's always for some people, I guess it could be linear, but generally speaking, if you're traversing through the entirety of the road of life, it's very far from linear, and we never get to really pick and choose what path we're going on when life decides to yank you off of it. We always pick the direction we want to head in, but the actual path, sometimes there's a new one that's presented in front of us, and that sometimes takes on forms of hardships and life challenges. And I've said this multiple times on the show, how fascinated I am with the resilience of human beings and the willpower to continue to push through those barriers. But then you come out on the outside of that, you're able to look back and say, like, wow, I did that. I survived that. And some of it's a little bit more traumatic, but trying to find those silver linings are pieces that we hold on to as human beings that allows us to keep going. And I'm curious to ask you if you've ever experienced a hardship or a life challenge that you rose above that, and maybe because of that, it made you stronger, made you better for it.
Yeah, I have. Hope I don't get too emotional here. Over the last 3 years, I have been a caregiver for my mom who has Alzheimer's. It was really like a curveball. Like nobody thought that she would have been diagnosed with it. I mean, my grandmother lived to age 95 when she died, and very much cognitively aware of just about everything. So here, my mom was at 72. 73 actually, and she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's. And 3.5 years ago, I had to take her in, and it's been one of the hardest thing that I've ever experienced. For one thing, I think for the longest while I was probably in denial that I'm actually dealing with this. But as I saw her cognitively declining, deteriorating over time, I realized that I had to be proactive. So 3.5 years later, I mean, it has been quite a journey. It's a journey of persevering through hardship, persevering through the unknown. But one of the things that I've experienced throughout this journey is that aspect of reaching out and allowing others to come into my world to walk alongside us. And great people have come alongside to assist. As for me, as a person, I truly believe that I've grown a lot in patience. I've learned how to be gracious to others, how to be kind, and how to love unconditionally. Um, as I said, I don't want to cry, but it has brought out the best and to some degree, the worst, in terms of me acknowledging things that I might not have dealt with at the time, in terms of not being patient enough, not extending grace. But coming full circle, here I am taking care of my mom and being able to get to that place where I had to rise up to the occasion to be a caregiver, to to be a nurturer, to be an encourager, to be a helper. And I think I think overall it has made me a better person. But one of the things I can also say is that with her journey, especially on the financial side, it makes me have a deeper understanding of the value of financial planning. A lot of the things that could have gone wrong, because my mom was always a very stubborn person, didn't really like advice. But here we are, I was able to catch her, in time to make sure that the proper type of planning was done around her situation so that I don't have to worry too much about the financial side. For one thing, she didn't have a proper will. I caught her in time to be able to do that. Um, in terms of making sure that there was steady retirement income, I was able to make sure that things were in place, that she was able to minimize her taxes. And we don't always talk about burial expenses and things like that, right? And especially the medical stuff, we don't generally talk about that when you're around the family. But when
Those are important conversations to still have. I think it's certainly becoming more and more popular amongst people that planning for the things you don't want to think about is a smart move.
Yeah, but you have to. These things are inevitable, and so if anything, her journey has taught me the importance of even more so having these conversations with my clients. No one wants to talk about it, but at the end of the day, these are things that are so important. It will help, the caregivers. It will help their family to better cope with the financial aspect of caring for an elderly person, especially when there is Alzheimer's or dementia involved.
Yeah, my grandmother, we're French on my mom's side, so we call her ma mère, and she got dementia. Now all my family's out in Winnipeg, so us being here, we're not there all the time, and thankfully my mom has 5 other siblings that are out there to be able to take turns at managing. But I got to visit with her, a handful of times, over the course of that journey, and her cognitive decline was a steady, slow pace. It didn't happen rapidly. So, I've seen and witnessed it firsthand. I can relate to those experiences that you're going through, and seeing that happen to my grandmother. It's never something you want to wish on anyone. And like you said, knowledge is power. I'm reading up on and watching a couple documentaries on different foods that we eat and we eat often that are now linked to that.
Yep.
Such as sliced deli meat, stuff like that, and the food we eat. And it just becomes more important than ever to make sure that we educate ourselves and use these as signs to, again, try to make the world a better place. We never used to have these diseases. Our ancestors never had to deal with this.
Exactly.
And we do, right? So they're important things to do. And like you said, having those tough conversations are just as important to make sure that people have the proper planning. So that, in events that these do happen, because they will continue to happen, and they will, we don't wish it upon anybody. But again, life deals us a deck of cards. And when you're dealt that deck, you just have to deal with it. But if you have the right financial planning and dealing with somebody like yourself, it helps the transition?
Yeah, it helped a great deal. It helped a great deal because I knew exactly what needed to be done. And when I needed to call in, different professionals to come in to assist. So it helped. And I'm very grateful that, we are at this junction in her journey that, we are able to be to some degree proactive because, with dementia or Alzheimer's, sometimes you have no idea how long the individual will last. But I'm putting the proper processes and things in place to make sure that there are enough financial resources to sustain her throughout her lifetime.
No, very good. What's one thing that you wish our listeners knew about your business?
Well, for one thing, we are located in Innisfil. And yes, so I was very intentional with bringing my business here to Innisfil, and part of it was to help to build the community. My heart has always been community building. I'm a community builder. I did that earlier through an entrepreneurial startup organization, just helping once again with the mentorship, helping startups to start and making sure that the proper processes and resources were available. So one of the things that I really want in the near future, as it pertains to Covenant Wealth, is really being that driving force to initiate large projects. So one of the things that I'm hoping within the next year or two to be more actively involved is in bringing home healthcare to Innisfil.
Okay.
One of the challenges that I've had with my mom, whenever we need to see a specialist, we always had to go outside the community, whether it's Toronto or Barrie or somewhere in Simcoe County, but never here in Innisfil. So Covenant Wealth Financial Services as an organization is a community builder, and we want to make sure that there is healthcare close to home.
You come across a lot of people in your life, and there's a very select few times, but it does happen in a person's life where you end up getting to connect with a human being that is absolutely tremendous, a special person. I would say this is the first time I'm on the show to say it out loud. You would be definitely one of those people. Absolutely love everything that you represent and what you're about. We are really big community people as well too, and I'm excited to talk to you about that on the other side. And for anybody else who's interested in wanting to either build a community, be more involved, donate their time, would like to get a will, invest their money, or whether they would just like to have better cash flow, whether they're a family or a business owner, what would be the best way that they could get a hold of you?
Okay, through email, info@covenantwealth.ca. We are also on all major social media platforms. You can also reach out to us at on our website, covenantwealth.ca.
There you go.
Our phone number also.
Sure. Yeah.
705-719-7125.
Say that again one more time.
705-719-7125.
Very good. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was an absolute pleasure to listen to your story and help you spread that message. And we're looking forward to doing this sometime in the future.
Okay. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you for listening to the Good Neighbor Podcast Midhurst. To nominate your favorite local businesses to be featured on the show, go to gnpmidhurst.com. That's gnpmidhurst.com or call 705-413-3775.